very rarely people want to talk about the causes of stress, anxiety, or lack of work-life balance. People say that yes, there is a problem. People feel stress, people feel anxiety, people say that they have lack of work-life balance, but they don't want to talk about the real core reasons why this is happening. If we ask tough questions, we will definitely identify root cause to these problems, and then we can take certain actions to get out of situations of stress or anxiety. So in this video, I'm going to talk about 3 things which you need to monitor and observe in your office or in the ecosystem in which you operate. If you find these red signals, you definitely need to watch for a pattern and then take corrective action. And of course, even before we get to the 3 things, the first thing is your own skill set, your own capability, and figuring out whether you are in the right job or not. If your skill is something else, but you are into a job which requires some other skill or expertise, you will definitely feel stress, you will definitely feel anxiety, and then the action is on you. But sometimes the action is not on us. So here are 3 things which I want you to observe very closely. First is incompetent managers. As they say, if you work with a right manager, your career may flourish. But on the contrary, if you work with an incompetent manager, somebody who does not really know project management well, somebody who is not good in planning, somebody who is not good in communication, somebody who does not have the ability to say no or does not have the ability to negotiate, if you are working with such a manager who is not competent in all these aspects, then there are high chances that you will be stressed in your job, because this manager will make poor decisions, and because of those poor decisions, your work life will be under a lot of pressure. So the first point is, please observe, if you are working with an incompetent manager, then that can be a cause of stress in your work life. And if that is the case, you should definitely bring this up to other leaders or HRs in your company. Now that brings me to the second point, because a lot of people watching this video will say that if you escalate against manager or if you tell HR, it will boomerang. It will actually become an action on you. They will start to take action on you. And in some cases, this is true. And that brings us to point number 2, which is the culture issue. If HR or other senior leaders start to protect such incompetent managers, the entire culture of the company gets a very negative direction. As a result, wrong people end up getting promoted. They get into key roles, and because of their incompetence or because of their insecurity, their team members have to suffer. So if you are working in a place where your voice is not heard, where your feedback is not heard, and if you see a pattern that people say, yes, we will take action, we will look into it, but they don't do anything, then you clearly know that you are not working at the right place. In such places, you will also observe that there is a lack of systems and processes. People at the top, they just want results and they don't care about what is going on at the ground level. And even if they know what's going on at the ground level, they don't pay enough attention to fix those problems. And if you observe a pattern that you are working in such a workplace, it is definitely a wise idea to get out of there, because lack of support leads to stress, and a negative or a toxic work environment is not going to help you flourish in your career. All right, with that, let's move to point number 3, which is high workload, tight deadlines, and expectations of super high performance. When I talk about these things, I actually want to double click into the reason of why people fail to perform, why people fail to meet deadlines, or why people feel there is a high workload. The real problem is actually lack of planning. The real problem is actually somewhere else. Sometimes the sales teams get you a deal which is not a good deal to start with, and hence that project is executed with lesser number of people or with people who don't have right skills or experiences. Sometimes there is not enough time to load resources. So these are the problems which as an employee you can't fix, because this problem starts at the top. And I agree that sometimes it may be one-off issue, one-off project in which you will need to work like a fire drill. But if you see this as a pattern, if you see this happening time and again, where you're getting very tight timelines, where one person is doing two people's job, then you know that there is a problem, because this is not one time, it's happening time and again. And these things don't just happen in service companies or any specific type of companies. These things can happen anywhere. Sometimes it is an executive decision that we want to roll out a specific product on a specific date. There can be a business reason why executives are taking that decision, but the ripple effect is that people have to work overnight, during the weekends, round the clock to make it happen. And sometimes it is just against common sense, because we all know that it takes 9 months to deliver a baby. Even if you put 100 people on a project, it's not going to happen overnight. So these are some of the points which you need to observe. And sometimes it can be one-off thing. You can just take it in your stride and do it. But definitely, if it is a pattern, then you know that the cause of stress, anxiety, or lack of work-life balance is not because of you, but because of the ecosystem, because of the people you work with, or because of the decisions that are made by senior people or by the company as such. And when you observe these things, you can make a decision whether you want to work in that project, department, or company, or whether you want to move out. And lastly, no organization is perfect, no manager is perfect. But what we discussed today is something which happens to a lot of people, and a lot of people think this is the only way of life. But then there are good companies, there are good managers, good workplaces where there are logical people working with common sense. Alright, so those were some of the things which I wanted to talk about today. Do let me know your thoughts in comments. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. And if you like the video, do hit the like button and share it in your WhatsApp network. I'll see you in another video soon. Take care and bye for now.